Hello, humans. It's Rob here with Not a Robot Podcast's DC Comics Review Show number 144, the world's greatest comic show about the world's greatest superheroes. And with me, as always, is Josh.
Howdy, howdy, howdy. Hey, Rob, check this shit out, dude. Guess what I just found out?
What'd you find out?
Superman and Chuck Norris once had an ass-kicking contest.
Oh, is that so?
And the loser had to wear their underwear on the outside of their pants.
Oh. Well, I guess Chuck Norris was in for a... Fuck it, we all know he won. God damn it.
I got another one. You know why Batman is jealous of Superman?
Why?
Superman got adopted.
Oh. Oh, God, right in the parents.
Right in the parents.
Jeez.
Oh,
Bruce and multiple Earths felt that one. God damn.
So
anyway, we're here to talk about a whole bunch of comic books, and this week is no different. Today's books, we're looking at Harley Quinn number 29, Unstoppable Doom Patrol number 2, Revenge of the Gods number 4, Action Comics number 1054, Detective Comics number 1071, and the long-awaited Green Arrow number 1, as well as usual, some honorable mentions. Brandon is unfortunately not able to make it this week. He has been unexpectedly indisposed with some prior engagements. I don't know if it's prior engagement. We really don't know what it is, but we know it's something very unexpected that he had to deal with this afternoon. So hopefully we'll see him next week. I want to promise, but you know, things can take a turn. We never know.
The only thing that we know for sure is that it's some kind of a logistical thing. That's the only information we were given.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I don't even know what... I can't even begin to comprehend what that means.
With Brandon, there's no telling.
Yeah. Either way, Brandon, hope all is well. Look forward to seeing you next week. I was really hoping to hear his thoughts about Green Arrow number 1 and Doom Patrol, but we'll just have to see it in text form instead. Before we get into all our books, though, let's get into some news. There was actually some news this week. Surprisingly, some surprise drops this week. I'm excited about. Both of which kind of spoil books this week. So all three of them actually kind of spoil books this week. So I don't even know where to begin. Fine. I guess we could start with CinemaCon, because that was earlier this week. And Warner Brothers had a panel, as did Sony. Excuse me. Sony was, I believe, Tuesday, where Warner Brothers was yesterday, unless it was the other way, Monday and Tuesday. Either way, Sony was first, and they showed off Kraven the Hunter. And if you've been following the news for Kraven, you, like myself, might have been a little worried about the direction they're going. I was stoked for Aaron Taylor Johnson cast as Kraven the Hunter. I thought it was an interesting casting. But all the conversations happening since that they're going to portray him as a hero, and that he's more of an animal protector as opposed to a hunter. I was like, it sounds like not Kraven.
I've been following it all vicariously through Isaiah from the Screens podcast, who pretty much let me know the exact same thing. It's not Kraven, it's Kraven's son, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right?
Well, I think he's still Sergei, but like there's a prior Kravinoff as his father was a big game hunter, I think is the idea here. Don't quote me on that. So but the impression, because they showed some clips, if not a full trailer, at CinemaCon this week, and the impression that is being said is that this Kraven, played by Aaron Taylor Johnson, is a lot more of a villain than we would have thought, and that he's hunting people. So it definitely garners the R rating it's getting. Like it's definitely well deserved from how it's being described.
You would think that a Craven movie would have an R rating to be even
really
the
should.
slightest bit accurate. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, Isaiah and I were gabbing about it, and he's like, I just don't understand this. Why does Craven go after Spider-Man and not Rhino or Vulture? And I'm like, well, I mean, I guess technically, because Vulture's in a suit, kind of, sort of, sometimes, and Rhino's in a suit, kind of, sort of, sometimes, but other times they're not, and Rhino's usually in. Okay, Isaiah, I have no idea why he doesn't.
I mean, if you want the comics explanation, at least what was garnered from the animated series back in the 90s, is that Spider-Man was like the ultimate prize. He's the guy that beat all these other guys, and as a creature, he is the hardest to kill. So he's the ultimate hunt. Yeah. But if you want the comedy response, maybe Rhino was just too fast. Vulture was too high. I don't know.
I didn't even know Vulture
maybe he doesn't.
But I mean,
maybe he doesn't hunt Russians and old people. I don't know.
Could be. Who knows?
Yeah, you never know.
Maybe
Warner
he
Brothers
just has
though,
an affinity for bald people.
maybe. I mean, oh yeah, like, but you don't know the Spider-Man isn't bald because of the mask.
I think he just assumes.
Maybe. Yeah, that's the same.
He probably assumes that he's more spider than man, so he must be hairy underneath, right? That's got to be it.
He's not Harry. He's Peter. Harry was Hobgoblin.
Now your jokes are as bad as mine. Nah, I'm not gonna lie. That one was better than
mine. Right. So Warner Brothers, they came in with some swings this week. Ow! Something just fell on my leg.
No.
I'll be honest, I don't remember all of the movies. There was a lot of non-comic book movies as well. A lot of sequels to some horror movies announced. So kind of surprisingly, but I'm not 100% against it, is Beetlejuice 2. That's been a long time coming. That's been like 30 years now or something like that since the first one.
It's been a very long time since then.
Yeah.
But the only reason why I am okay with it, and that I'm even the slightest bit interested in it, is that Michael Keaton is reprising the role of Beetlejuice and Tim Burton is directing.
It's got to be. You cannot do a Beetlejuice sequel any other way. You got to have Tim Burton and Michael Keaton. Is how they should have done Batman Forever. But
yep. Now I did hear a tiny rumor, and it's not confirmed in any way, shape, or form, so people don't go out assuming this. But I did hear down the rumor mill that oh shit, what's her name? Oh no, what's her name?
Ooh. Give me a hint. For Beetlejuice? Josh?
Lydia.
Oh, okay.
Her daughter is going to be the human companion for Beetlejuice this time, and
that makes sense.
Hear that daughter will be played by Jenny Ortega.
I had a feeling you were going to say that name because Wednesday.
Yep. Now, again, that's just a rumor, but it could have some meat to it. She's definitely the favorite to go to for that dark and innocent role. You know, the simultaneous thing that she's got going on with Wednesday. I just watched her in Scream 6, and she did a phenomenal job in there. Definitely
good.
A totally different character than you see in Wednesday, so she's got some chops. And I would, I'd be very interested to see her in that role. But regardless, Michael Keaton, Tim Burton, Beetlejuice 2, sign me up.
Perfect. Yeah, that'd be interesting if Jenna Ortega gets cast in that role. If that is also the story they're going for. I don't know much about the movie apart from the fact that it was announced. I don't know if anything else was said about it. But definitely something to potentially look forward to. As for comic book movies, they did talk about upcoming flicks later this year. They got The Flash. They had a new trailer for The Flash, which you have probably watched online by now. If you haven't, check it out because it's really fucking good. Uh, Also, there was more footage, I believe, for Blue Beetle. I don't know what the footage was. I did not get a chance to look up what was shown, but I know there was some more footage shown for Blue Beetle. And there was talk about Aquaman, potentially some clips from the movie shown for Aquaman in the Lost Kingdom. With From how people are talking about it, it sounds like a possible confirmation on the villain of the piece, and that is Black Manta. Specifically Black Manta. Where
See,
Black Manta,
that's
he was
definitely,
involved in the first one, but he wasn't necessarily the main villain. The main villain, I believe, was Orm.
yeah.
Yeah. Now the
It's that
turnaround
it
here,
shouldn't have been. It should have been Black Manta,
it should
and
have
then
been,
Orm
but
should have came in part two. But I'll take. We need Black Manta.
here's the kicker, though. It and I've yet to confirm this, but I have been reading that some of the clips are showing that not only is Black Manta the main villain, but that Aquaman is teaming up with Orm to take on Black Manta. Which is
I mean,
weirdly interesting, but I don't know how I feel about
okay.
that
So
yet.
it's weird, and it's weird when it's happened before in the comics. Um,
Yeah.
it's never happened in a good story arc, so um, we'll have to see
No,
about
there
that.
was
There's
what was this? It was a recent. I say recent, but it's been like freaking 4 years since we've had an Aquaman comic. There's a story arc. I don't remember what it was. Oh, I think it was near the end of his Rebirth series, where Orm had like retired to the land and had a wife and an adopted child, and then had to return to the sea because what's her name? Their sister. God, I don't remember her name now. Showed up and brought him back, and then he had to work with Aquaman to save the Seven Seas or something like that. That wasn't bad. I enjoyed that. Oh, he technically didn't
it
work with
wasn't
Aquaman.
bad.
He technically worked with Aquaman, but he was also he took command of Mira's old kingdom, and I don't remember what the name of that kingdom was. Her home kingdom,
Zebel.
Zebel. Yeah, he became the king of Zebel, and then
Hmm.
went to the multi kingdom party and tried to take over, and then somebody else tried to take over. So he and Aquaman worked together to stop that, or something like that. It's been a while,
Hmm.
but I remember something about them working together in some kind of fashion, and I kind of liked that.
It had its ups and downs. It's far from the worst arc, for
Yeah.
sure.
Oh yeah, the others was kind of dull.
So what else we got coming in?
Um, Sorry, I thought no. I interrupted you, and I wasn't sure if there was more to your thoughts. Sorry.
Oh
um,
no, not really.
okay, fair enough.
Not really.
Yeah. That was about it for movie news that I can remember from CinemaCon. But there's definitely some stuff to look forward to. Again, if you have not watched that trailer for The Flash, check it the hell out. It looks so damn good, action packed. People were emotional about it in a good way. Whereas test screenings for Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom are calling it the worst comic book movie of all time. So we'll see how that goes. And as for the third DC movie
Yikes.
coming out this year that I mentioned, there was some information about Blue Beetle. Well, in the comics world, I have information about Blue Beetle as well. Just as
Whoop,
this
whoop.
week we see Blue Beetle graduation day number 6, it was announced that Blue Beetle number 1 is coming out in September 2023. And spoiler alert, that is also teased at the end of Blue Beetle graduation day number 6. Again, has come out this week. And it's the first story arc will be titled Scarab War, written and drawn by the same creative
Oh.
team. Yeah, so it's going to be interesting. Uh,
Uh-oh.
very interesting. I'm just double checking now. I don't know for sure if it's an ongoing or a mini, but I really hope it's an ongoing. I really do.
I really hope it's
Oh,
an
wait,
ongoing
yeah.
too.
First look at DC's upcoming ongoing new Blue Beetle book. Yeah, so that is
Yes.
coming up in September as an ongoing. What's a win for a book that lost a round robin tournament, right?
Fucking right. Thank you,
What a
readers, for
freaking
supporting Jaime
win.
Reyes.
You know?
Makes me so
Oh,
happy.
shit. They have a cover as well for Blue Beetle #1 coming in September. It looks freaking good.
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
have to
it's.
drop that into Discord.
Oh, Brandon shared the link the other day. It's on that same article.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Um, it does have that kind of. You know those posters people complain about these days where it's just a bunch of floating heads? It has that same energy, but it's Blue Beetle characters, so I dig it. Yeah, I'm all about it. And they're teasing what it's a shadowy figure, but it kind of looks like Black Beetle, which would be really weird. But but I'm about it right
Very
now because I
weird.
really liked that character. Yeah.
I mean,
The,
honestly, if you're into Jaime Reyes, you kind of have to dig the Black Beetle character. Um,
yeah.
he was
I mean
just a fun character.
yeah.
I also
He was
want to see
heavily like
Gold Beetle.
a booster gold type villain because he debuted in that run and he was only ever really around for booster from what I remember. Uh but yeah, like it carbon copy of the suit in a way, so definitely. I don't like Dan Jurgen's surprise reveal at the end of Blue and Gold for Black Beetle. I'm gonna be honest with you. It feels really weird, but
A little
we'll see how this
forced,
goes.
even.
Yeah, yeah. Like the more I think about it, the logic side of me is like, okay, like, sure, it makes sense. Like, how many different directions could you go with this? But at the same time, just like, really, Earth 3 though. Come on. Yeah. So I don't know. It just kind of looks like Black Beetle to me, but we'll see. It's completely silhouetted with red eyes, but we'll see in September when that drops. Also announced this week, kind of breaking out of a future issue, and now I'm. Hang on. Now I'm debating if I even finished
I will
Action
hang
Comics
on.
this week. Oh shit. Uh, I don't think I got a chance to finish Action Comics this week. Now that I think about it.
Well,
Oh,
it's a good thing I did.
yeah, that is very good. Did oh no, I did. Okay, no, Power Girl's
Okay, I
not
was
the
gonna say
backup anymore. Okay,
no,
woo.
no.
Right, it's Power Girl Special #1, which comes out in May on May 30th, I believe. They're teasing the end of that already a whole month in advance. That there are two series spinning out of the pages of Power Girl Special #1, and that is Power Girl #1, just Power Girl, which is confirmed by the writer to be an ongoing. So that is coming, I believe, also in September, as well as, and I believe this is a mini series, Fire and Ice, Welcome to Smallville. That's Fire and Ice from the old Justice League International team, Beatrix
And
DaCosta and Tora
yes,
Olafsdottir. So
that's awesome.
that's awesome as hell. I can't wait for that. I've been no oh my god, I can't talk. I've been very vocal, I mean to say, about my love of Dan Jurgens on this podcast, and JLI is no different. So seeing Fire and Ice getting some recognition, I am all for that. And it looks
So a
like
long time
Power
coming.
Girl. Definitely, it's been a long freaking time. Like even in the past friggin' 20 years, they've just been relegated to the odd appearance in a event title, and that's it. So we'll see how it goes. The idea here is that
I want
Superman.
fire. Is it weird that I want fire, ice, jade, and obsidian to have like their own little team?
Like the real world Metropolis or something like that.
Something like that. just think it would be an
That'd be cool.
Jump.
The Emerald Flame and the Brazilian Flame teaming up with the bright shining cold and the bright or the dark seething
It's
cold.
I
don't know.
it's somewhere in there.
It's somewhere in there, yeah.
Somewhere.
Yeah. So Fire and Ice Welcome to Smallville sees Superman sending the former Justice Leaguers packing for Smallville to lie low following their extremely public and utterly disastrous mission in Baltimore, and in so doomed them to fate worse than death, irrelevance. So they are left kind of bored on a farm. You remember that old reality show? I'm picking reality shows out of my ass today. It was Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie.
Oh,
like the mid 2000s, where they just went across the Midwest or something, doing like menial labor.
It made every girl under 30 adopt "That's hot" as like their favorite thing to say. I couldn't tell you what the hell the name of it was.
No, I personally I don't even care.
Famous, but
I know how. MTV.
MTV and a sex tape.
But which one? Trick question. All of them.
All of them.
Exactly. I mean, so I bring that up because it kind of has that vibe to it. These two superstars of the superhero community, used to a certain type of life, are now being put into rural Kansas and left to work on a farm, and they're not too happy about it. Hey, it's not too happy. Not so bad necessarily. I mean, I'd probably go freaking crazy because I like city life, but we'll see how that goes. And Power Girl, we'll continue the story. Rolling out of Power Girl Special Number 1 and Night Terrors, and it looks like the name Paige is sticking around, which I am more than okay with. Because let's face it, the name Karen has been kind of tainted recently, so I think it's fair to give her a new name.
It is, and again, I mean, I am 100% all about them putting as much room in between Power Girl just being a Supergirl clone for all intents and purposes. I mean, I know that's not exactly what's up, but you know what I mean. And for her to be able to, graduate into being her own hero, and hopefully us seeing a whole lot more of her, that makes me really happy. She's a great character, and that character deserves to be her own character. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Karen, that's a little too close.
Yeah. Excuse me. I mean, back in whenever it was they started that, if it was the 80s or the 70s or whichever, when they had that going on, they're like, okay, we have these two characters and they're the same character, but they got to be different characters. How do we do? Okay, at the time, sure, but it's been a while. Definitely update that. And finally, another
how do you
tease
differentiate between the two? Well, Kara would never have a boob window.
She confirmed that on multiple occasions. Yeah. Yeah, and finally, another tease for a book that's out this week. Green Arrow number 1 has officially been extended from 6 issues to 12. It was very quick because I think the news broke the day the book came out. So it was very good to see, very good to hear. And as the article mentions, if it sounds this news sounds kind of familiar, it also happened with Poison Ivy. I think it was just before issue 6 came out. They said it's 12 issues, and then like issue 9 came out, and they were like, okay, ongoing. So yeah, that's all it takes.
I didn't know it was going to keep selling this good.
Exactly. Yeah, like if that's what it takes these days to like get us some ongoing series, then by all means, if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. No more like 50 to 55% a week Batman titles, and let's look at the larger DC universe. There's hundreds of characters in this stable, and we're finally getting back to them. I am more than okay with this. If you got to start with minis, start with one story arc, see how it sells, and go from there, that's fine.
Yeah,
I'm more than okay with it.
Actually, the day before yesterday, I plopped over my Poison Ivy collection over to Holly, and because she works from home now, and while she's in between her phone calls, she will usually play a game. And I said, instead of sitting there, or as you know, instead of sitting there scrolling through Instagram, you should read this. She came back into the room after her work day was off, and I said, "So, what'd you think of that first issue?" She said it was pretty good. So was the last one. I'm like, you read all of the books? She says, "Oh yeah, I couldn't put it down."
Right on.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Hey, I do the same thing with Ange sometimes. I like, okay, check this out. You might like it. And she's almost done Saga, so I've been waiting for a couple of months for her to get to that last page of issue 54, but we'll see. Hopefully soon. But she's also working from home. She's back at work now and has a really crappy shift. She's finished at 8 p.m. So not a lot of free time with that kind of shift.
Yeah, that is a shitty shift.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the last time I did an afternoon shift was back in, oh hell, I must have been like 22 or something. I just like,
oh damn,
fuck this. It is worse than working a midnight shift. At least in the midnight shift, you still have time to take care of shit. You work in like an afternoon shift, and your entire day is screwed. I mean, you got to do what you got to do. You know, bills don't wait around to get paid. But
exactly,
I feel for her, man. I definitely feel for
her. I didn't mind when I was working afternoon to late shifts in retail, working 8 hours, because I wasn't much of a morning person. I was more of a late owl. So I'd get home at 11 p.m. and I'd be like, all right, what can I do for now? Like, go play a game. Everyone else is asleep. I can just relax. Like, I don't have to deal with stuff. And you get the morning. If you start at 1:30, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you get the morning to take care of stuff if you got to take care of stuff. I didn't mind that so much. But now that I'm working 6 a.m. to 2:30,
I'd rather get up at 6, get out at 2:30, 4:30, somewhere in that area, and then get to spend my early evening taking care of some stuff, and then my nights doing whatever I want. Insomnia, one of the boons of it is that you get a lot more time in the day.
Yeah.
I'll get on a video game instead of crawling into bed. Everybody else is sleeping. I can't get yelled at.
Exactly. Sometimes it's great, though. I do also appreciate waking up early on days off. Like you said, everyone else is asleep, so you get to just do your own thing. Yeah.
Yep.
So you got any news? Anything going on in your life right now?
I mean, I've got that health shit, which sucks. 20% lung function. That's no fun. But I've been busying myself with a lot of comic books, some video game playing. I picked back up Gotham Knights. I'm still having some fun with that. It is by far from a great game. It's definitely not getting 10 out of 10 on anybody's list, but it's a fun way to pass the time. I am playing Hogwarts Legacy far more than that, and I'm fucking addicted to that game, dude. And TV shows, I've been watching an assload of those, but as far as ones that relate to this show, I haven't gotten into Titans yet. I keep on forgetting to turn that on. I have watched Gotham Knights. I have watched Gotham Knights to let you guys all know that you probably should not. If there's a way to sum that up, it's a little, I guess the best way for me to put it is that it's like Gotham, the TV show Gotham,
Right.
mixed with the absolute cheesiest CW show they have ever produced. And the result is not a good one. It is not a good one.
Kind of had that feeling from the trailer.
Yeah. And then finally, man, in what I am almost certain that the last episode will have me bawling, and I mean this, Holly and I are both looking at each other after every episode and going, oh shit, we're going to cry at the end, aren't we? We're going to fucking cry at the end, aren't we? Superman and Lois. It's been CW's best superhero show. It's been regular TV's best superhero show ever. And if you haven't been watching it, in this season, John is really coming into his powers. He's at the top of his game. And Clark is not so much. And that is mostly because we find out that Lois has cancer.
Oh, fuck off.
Yeah, no, for real. And there is absolutely nothing pointing in the direction that she's going to come out of this okay.
Well,
so
shit.
The greatest Lois Lane of all time is probably going to die this year. And I will fight people
insane.
on that shit. I will fight people on that shit. Elizabeth Tulloch is the best Lois Lane that's ever appeared in media.
I can definitely agree with that. And if anybody does have an argument for that, just don't. It's just like everyone's entitled to their opinions, yes, but honestly, right. Elizabeth Tulloch is doing a fantastic job.
Write in or donate and join the Discord and fight me. I got you.
Yeah. We have a channel devoted to fights. In fact, we have two. We have one called Let's Fight and one called Yell at Josh. So you have
Indeed.
Multiple avenues. You can fight the fight on two fronts.
People don't have a problem yelling at me.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that was about it. As
that
far as news goes. Yeah. Like I've honestly shit, yeah, not much else. Like I finally finished reading Final Crisis. It was a hell of a ride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Been a long time since you dipped back into that stuff.
I've looked at excerpts every now and then over the past 15 years or so, but no, I haven't really read the whole thing since it was first released, and I'd just been wanting to take a dive into it for a while. So I got that I think it was the 2014 or 2015 edition, which had some bonus pages in it to help the end make a bit more sense. And when I first got it a few months ago, I looked and compared to issue 7 what the extra pages were. And I know I took photos for Brandon and showed him, but I couldn't tell you off the top of my head right now which pages they were. But reading it in a flow, it was like, oh, like I wasn't confused about anything. It was honestly solid. And it's a hell of a story. And the edition I had, I think most of the editions come with Superman Beyond 1 and 2 for the tie-in, and then Grant Morrison's Batman 682 and 683, I think, were the numbers, which talk about what Batman was doing between him being locked up and then appearing in Darkseid's throne room, and how he escaped and where he went. So you get the whole story right there, without all the excess tie-ins that don't actually have any connections. Looking at you, Green Lantern, Rage of the Red Lanterns,
and almost every single other event.
Every single other one, yeah. There is also
well, not just in DC. I mean, everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere. There was the Resist tie-in as well, which catalogs more about the Tattooed Man and his part in the story, which is a fairly big part, I gotta say. And that was it. It read pretty well in the order it had and how it read. I really liked it. Definitely recommend checking out again all these years later, because you also get to see a lot of the ideas that Grant Morrison drops there that he picks up on in later books he publishes over the next 15 years, in like Multiversity, in the Green Lantern, and there's so many others. So it was great to see those start
Loads
out.
Of others.
Loads of others, yeah.
And it's not only him that dips back to his old stuff. A lot of other people tend to too.
Oh yeah, which we've seen a lot over the past year.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, there was a good few months solid where everything was. It's not even just like Rom V was doing it. Williamson's been doing it. Chip Zdarsky's been doing it. I think there was one month we had Detective Comics and Batman, where Rom V and Chip both took over the respective books, and both issues had teases of Grant Morrison work. So he's an iconic writer. Or sorry, It bugs me because I was reading somewhere that I think it was on Reddit. Somebody was saying there was an interview where Grant was like, he's okay with he, they, and I keep that in my mind, even though I don't want to. I want to just go with they, they, them, because that is what is the constant. But that one comment has been stuck in my mind ever since. I'm just like, maybe it's I just don't take the chance. So they, I just want to explain why I'm doing that. They are definitely a very prolific writer for DC and comics in general, realistically. Whether you like Grant or not, you got to admit their contributions to the craft were just amazing.
I would almost say unparalleled.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like when you look at I'll call it the second British invasion in history, or I guess technically third if you have the Civil War, not the Civil War, the War of 1812, was that the British American War, the Revolutionary War, and then you have the British invasion with the Beatles. This is the third British invasion where you had all the big time British comic creators make a name for themselves overseas with Alan Moore, Grant Morrison.
Isn't British.
He's Scottish.
He's Scottish.
That's British.
That's not British. That's just UK.
That's Great Britain.
It's the UK.
You're a UK. See, it works everywhere.
It works everywhere.
Yeah, if you talk to some hardcore Scots people, they will be like, no, I am Scottish. Same with the Irish, but it is even my mother sometimes will just, I'm not British. okay, mom. Yeah, they are Scottish. A lot of the bigger ones, a lot of the better ones, I'll say, were Scottish. Mark Millar, Alan Moore. I think he's just English.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken.
Which would explain the hard-headedness.
Yeah, and his appearance.
And his appearance. I blame that on him being a wizard, but
there's never been any proof of that.
But there hasn't been any proof to dispute it either. You can't prove he's not a wizard. I can't remember any other. I know there was a lot of people just like booming overseas in the 90s. I can't remember 80s and 90s. I can't remember them all, but those are three of the biggest. Yeah, Grant Morrison, Alan Moore, Mark Millar.
Now we're on our way through the Canadian invasion.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Okay, no, you're not on your way through it. It has come, it has landed, it has taken over, and we were here before you even knew it. we were already apologizing before you knew what even happened. We sent the advanced troops, the Canadian geese.
We were saying sorry for.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, speaking of that, speaking of Canadian creators, Today I was supposed to go see Chip Starsky in
Yeah,
Toronto,
what a bummer.
but it got postponed to Saturday, so I'm gonna still go see him Saturday and get some stuff signed. And conveniently,
Excellent.
kind of accidentally, I've just been feeling like doing it. A kind of low key comic shop opened up at the mall by my house. There hasn't been one at that mall in like God, like 7-8 years. And I say low key because
Nice.
it's kind of a chain comic shop where it's got two main stores that they have in neighboring areas and towns, and then they
Hmm.
have smaller shops they pop up all around the Greater Toronto area, usually in malls, that will have all sorts of like pop figures and collectible items, manga, and the occasional comic book and graphic novel. But they don't get the weekly comics at these smaller stores. They just get what was left over and sold well from the week before. So I started picking up from number 127 every issue of Batman by Chip Zdarsky, just because I liked it so much. And then I find out
Hmm.
he's coming to Toronto to sign stuff. I'm like, well, that's freaking perfect. I've got some books for him to
Right.
sign.
Don't mind my
Yeah,
backpack, buddy.
exactly.
Hmm.
I don't imagine I'm going to bring all of them. I might just get maybe 127, maybe 134. Because I do have all the issues of his run so far. So
Yeah,
I just picked up
definitely
131 last week.
127
Oh, yeah. Got to start there at least.
for
Uh,
sure.
we'll see how it goes. Yeah. As another shop I haven't been to before, because it's a part of Toronto I don't. I usually drive through on my way to a Blue Jays game. Yeah, or a convention. So,
Well,
yeah, I don't spend much time there.
that's what you get for being a Blue Jays fan.
what what are you saying?
Baseball stopped being a fun game a long time ago. Fun game to watch a long time ago.
So funny you say that, because I was talking to my mom. We were out having a drink earlier today, and the highlights for last night's Jays game was on, and MLB has instituted a whole slew of new rules to make the game a little quicker and a little more uh, interesting. They say. So
Well,
it's
that's
it
good.
yeah, like it's there are, I call it, there's timers, there's shot clocks now, for the pitcher and the batter. So I think
Good.
pitcher's got 10 or 15 seconds to actually pitch the ball, and the batter has 30 seconds between bats to actually make it to the home plate, and they have to do it before the 8-second mark. They have to touch the plate to step up to bat or whatever like that, or they take a ball or a strike depending on who it is. Plus, when it comes to pickoff pitches at a base, when someone's trying to steal, you get no more than two.
Hmm.
That's it. If you
Oh,
go for a
wow.
third, automatic ball.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Plus
See,
some
man.
other rules about fielding and calls for umpires. So yeah, they're definitely making it a bit more fast, a bit quicker. Apparently,
Good.
early tests of these rules shaved the game time down by approximately 26 minutes. So the game is a
Holy
lot
shit.
faster now. Yeah.
That's groovy, man. I
Yeah.
mean, I loved baseball as a kid. I loved the Detroit Tigers and I loved the Baltimore Orioles. And it just got to the point where it was taking so long. It was almost as if everybody there was getting paid by the hour.
Yeah.
And it turned watching baseball turned into watching golf. It was just something you turned on to fall asleep to after Thanksgiving.
Oh
Something
yeah.
like that. I mean, I don't
It's
think
definitely
people,
more
but
fun to watch in person. You get the
oh
feel of
yeah,
the crowd. You go there, you get your $10 hot dog, your $20 beer, and hope you don't spill it because you lost out $20. And you just get the vibe of the crowd, and you get to see the game live. It's a lot more fun there because I got the music going, the people cheering, the mascot doing the stuff in the stands. It's great stuff. Like being in person. I get bored watching it on TV sometimes too, because you're just it's 3 hours of watching people stand around on TV.
yeah.
It is. is a little more boring. As much as I like the sport and I like watching it, I prefer to watch highlights more often than not. Or if I know there was a really good game the day before, I'll go back and kind of go through the game. But yeah, I kind of don't blame you there. It's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah. I would say speaking of wrestling, or speaking of sports, there's wrestling, but we should probably get on with the comics.
There is. Yeah, we should probably. It's been like 45 minutes already, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. So honorable mentions, man. Let me go through those really quick. Tim Drake, Robin number 8. You guys will not believe this, but after 8 issues, it still sucks. DC Ruby number 3. It is still better than I thought it would be. It is surprising the hell out of me every time. The Riddler Year 1 number 4. There is some really interesting concepts here and an explanation as to why he hates the Waynes so much. So if you're not reading this, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but go read it. Sandman Universe, The Dead Boy Detectives number 5. This is frigging great. And if you're not reading the Sandman Universe books, even if you're skipping on the Nightmare Country because it's too much for you, Dead Boy Detectives is awesome. And tighten up your stomach or something, because Nightmare Country is pretty kick-ass too. Finally, Blue Beetle Graduation Day number 6. Fucking great issue, great ending to this series, awesome lead into we're going for Blue Beetle number 1, like Rob mentioned earlier, and I could not be happier that Jaime Reyes is getting so much attention. I hope it continues after the movie. Yeah, I have a feeling the movie's going to be pretty kick-ass.
And I'm thinking about this now. With Blue Beetle Graduation Day, because now I'm remembering one of James Gunn's quotes shortly after him and Peter Safran were given the job, that he wants to work with Warner Brothers and DC to make sure that when a movie's coming out, that there was a comic book about that character at the same time. So maybe that did also have some influence on Graduation Day and the upcoming ongoing series, which I'm still more than okay with. But yeah, like that's. Yeah. I thought it was just like they're smartening up, but maybe James Gunn just has some influence here.
For sure, he's got a lot of influence. He has 100% stated that all the TV shows, movies, and video games will all be interconnected, and that the video games will not be required to know what's going on, but they will definitely fill in some holes and add a little bit to the story where, you're just getting more.
Yeah,
and adding to it, which is great. Unlike the old Spider-Man movies, video games, where it's hey, we've got this and the general plot of the movie, and then we're gonna throw in 8 or 9 more bad guys on top of it.
Yeah,
because bosses.
Exactly.
That's not how it works.
Yeah, that was always my biggest gripe when it came to movie video games. Just the continuity of it all was kind of weird.
Very much so, and hopefully we won't have to deal with that anymore. And then finally, I just want to mention that we do have one book that should be in the spotlight, but it is such a long-awaited book that we're going to make you wait till the end just to hear it, just because we can.
that was some foreshadowing. That was definitely some foreshadowing if I ever heard it. Yeah, that's on me. I forgot that we usually put number 1s in the spotlight, but I thought Green Arrow was also like it's a heck of an issue, and we'll get into that later, but I figured it's a good way to close the show. So
absolutely. I think we've waited so long for the book that everyone can wait till the end of the podcast to listen to it.
Right on. Before that though. No, honestly, I was like, I mean, technically on purpose. I wasn't even thinking about the fact that it usually goes on Spotlight. I was just thinking like no, it'd be a great closer for the show because it's an exciting issue. Completely forgetting that we usually put number ones in the spotlight. Uh, we'll see how that goes going forward because there's a lot of upcoming number ones that are just exciting. With Shazam, we got Green Lantern, Steelworks all coming out soon, Hawk Girl. So I don't know. We'll see. All kinds of goodies. Oh, that's something I was going to mention. We got previews
to get some love.
You know? Yeah. Which?
Serious. Out of Hawk
Kendra?
Girl and Hawk Woman. Yeah.
Which one is Shayera is Hawk Girl right now? Yeah, they alternate sometimes. It's hard to keep track.
But Hawk Woman is like my favorite out of the two, and I wish she got more love.
Yeah.
But anyway,
or isn't
shall we move on?
Kendra's Hawk Girl now, or is it Shayera? No, it should be Kendra Saunders is Hawk Girl. Yeah, and then Shayera Hall would be Hawk Woman. But then it's so hard to keep track. It's just like the Hawks history. It's just confusing. It really is.
But I want to say that I want to say Shiara is going to remain as Hawk Woman. Kendra is going to remain as Hawk Girl, at least as far as I can tell, for the long foreseeable future. So
just one thing I forgot to mention. We got advanced previews in the public for some books coming out in a couple of weeks, and normally we get previews a week ahead, but there were some previews dropped a couple of weeks ahead for Green Lantern #1 and Batman Brave and the Bold #1, and I think there was one other, but I don't remember what it was. And I took a look, and they look really interesting. I don't think I realized that Brave and the Bold was going to be an anthology book. I thought it was literally going to be like the old just one-off team-ups. But no. Which is, honestly, it's a bit of a shame.
Legends.
Yeah. But there's more than just Batman in it. So, like, there's a story in the first issue that I think is just Superman. Just kind of interesting. So it's not specifically just Batman and Batman-related characters. So that's good to see.
No. The whole Brave and the Bold bunch.
Yeah.
I'm going to assume it's going to primarily involve Batman, Superman, Hal Jordan, and Barry Allen.
No, we'll definitely see. I think Zatanna's got a story, so that might already kill your theory. We'll see how it goes. Yeah. I just came across some issues of Brave and the Bold from, I think it was the 2000s that were in my dad's collection. That was an interesting run. And that had team-ups of all sorts of people.
Fair enough. I guess it depends on which well they're going to.
Exactly. Yeah. But anyway, I digress. Let's get to some quick bites for the week. You want to start off with Harley Quinn?
Sure. Let's go ahead and do that. I think I can do that. Yeah, I can do that. All right, Harley Quinn #29, written by Teenie Howard, Sweeney Boo on the art and cover, and lettering from Steve Wands. So, part 1, we begin our journey on the distant planet of... Let me start that over again. We begin our journey on the distant planet of Earth 48, the city palace of Lady Quark, Lord Volt, and their children, one of which is Liana. Earth 48, it seems, is that universe's war world, and the current threat there smells like birthday cake. Oh. Then, I'm not making that up, it really does. Then we move on over to Harley and Ivy's place, sans Ivy, of course, back home with us on Earth 0, and Harley wants to take a trip through the multiverse. She sees an ad for it from Zatanna, which seems strange that Zatanna is putting out TV infomercials for multiversal travel, but nonetheless, that's where we are. Anyway, she heads on over to see her, and they talk after Zatanna says a spell to hide her side piece. Why is she there? Well, it's because of that multiversal fish from last issue. Zatanna can help, but Harley has to sacrifice something that's alive. After talking it out with Batman, she decides that she's going to sacrifice the one plant that Ivy left in her care to make the spell work. Next thing we see are Bud and Lou, everyone's favorite hyenas, standing upright like people speaking through what I guess is telepathy, making old Rob 2814 exceptionally happy. Next issue, The Tale of Captain Carrot. Tail.
Yes.
I want to see Sweeney Boo draw some DC cartoons.
Yes, I'm like, very excited about that.
Hardcore. The way she draws Batman. I want to see her specifically. Batman has to be in the cartoon. I don't care what kind of cartoon it is, but I want Batman in there very badly. And I love the way she does Harley too. So, yeah, major props to Sweeney Boo on that. Part 2, An In-Continuity Dream, or rather another one, written and drawn by Adam Warren, colors by Alejandro Sanchez, and letters by Hassan Atzmani El Hau. Harley has a trippy dream where Bud and Lou run through a whole bunch of scenarios. They're talking, by the way, where Harley is imagining things or worse, and then she wakes herself up. In the last panel, we see Bud and Lou actually are fully articulate, multiversal, anthropomorphic hyena forms, which I think is a very super long way of saying that they're basically werewolf hyenas from another dimension.
Sounds like it. Yeah.
But it's an absolute insane path for this book to follow, and 100% believable for this book to follow. All of the art is fucking great. It matches up the stories so well that they're in respectively first and last. The stories themselves working together like they do is great. I wish backups worked alongside of the main issues way more often. This isn't even just a backup. This is a total tie-in to what's going on, and that's awesome. The stories themselves are great. It's top-notch stuff, man, and I really can't wait for next month's issue. I have to see where this goes, and given that I believe Poison Ivy is an ongoing, Harley is definitely an ongoing, will DC's favorite fan couple, DC's fans' favorite couple, I can't talk, will they ever get back together? I don't know. Inquiring minds want to, though. I am definitely enjoying this, all of it, man. I gave this whole issue an 8.75 out of 10.
Right.
I thought it was fantastic, man.
Yeah, it was really good between the main story and the backup. I gotta say, Harley looks like she's dealing with some shit. Maybe she should see a therapist. Might be a good idea.
She seems like okay, so Harley seems to be getting her shit together. The only problem with Harley getting her shit together is that she's Harley. So she's smart enough. She's smart enough to be a professor at a college, like she is. But she's also a psychologist enough to know herself and know that everything that she's seeing or going through could be completely delusional. So it's crazy, but I love it. It works so good.
Exactly. And that's, who knows? But we know multiversal stuff. It's legit. Except for the Bud and Lou stuff. I'm on the fence about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I can only assume that this whole Bud and Lou thing are actually Lady Quark and Lord Volt.
That's definitely the vibe I got.
Completely wrong.
Yeah. I mean, that was definitely the vibe I got until the backup, which, if that was also kind of part of the same story, then it makes you question things because they basically say they're not. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see next issue. You are 100% right that the end of the issue got me really excited with the next issue tease with Captain Carrot. I can't freaking wait. I know last issue Lady Quark mentioned that the clownfish was taken from a great warrior in the multiverse, but it wasn't really said who it was until this issue, and early on she said, I don't know if she actually name dropped Captain Carrot or she said a super powered bunny or something like that. But that got me excited. I'm like, oh shit, it was Captain Carrot. And then they say next issue we're getting some Captain Carrot stories. Fucking yes.
See, the mention in it completely flew right by me. I didn't even pick that up. I picked up that caption box and went, oh, Rob is smiling.
Yes, I was. So for now, fuck it, I'm upgrading it because of the Captain Carrot tease. It's 8.5 out of 10. It was 8.25, but now it's 8.5. I imagine next issue will be a 9.75, but that's for next month. We'll see how it goes.
He's not playing favorites at all.
Favorites? No. Not at all. All right, so now we're going to move on over to the Unstoppable Doom Patrol, number 2. And this is, I forgot to write down the creative team because this was Brandon's book, but now it's mine. Hold, please. This is brought to us by Dennis Culver writing, with art from Chris Burnham, colors from Brian Reber, and letters from Pat Brosseau, with a cover from Chris Burnham and Brian Reber, which I'm really digging the covers that they're doling out these days.
Oh, hell yeah.
At least for this series. I'm really liking it. The cover for next issue looks really good too. So we open up on the Doom Patrol, saving another metahuman in danger, this time in danger from Peacemaker robots. Oddly enough, they look really weird but interesting at the same time. Saving a lone metahuman who is being called Velvet, but he believes most people call him that because... Or no, people call him Worm, but he believes most people call him that because of Velvet, the worm that lives inside his stomach. So he's rescued by the Doom Patrol and taken back to home base, but he is actually a spy for the government and the government organization that Peacemaker works for, as he's working for Peacemaker, and he was once a member of the Suicide Squad against his will, as is all the members of the Suicide Squad. They give him the grand tour of the home base, where they meet Flex Mentalo and a whole bunch of other recruits training in the gymnasium, as well as we see finally Niles Calder, who is actually no longer in control of the team and was brought back in a consulting capacity only, as Jane's personality for chief quickly reminds him that you were here to consult only and nothing more. Robot Man, meanwhile, takes a trip down memory lane, visits the grave of Dorothy Spinner, and gets in contact with some other past members of the team. As more shit is going down, Peacemaker, at the end of the day, is getting in touch with Worm and tells him to basically infiltrate completely, send Velvet to do some digging, or we're going to blow up your brain because that brain implant is still active. He reluctantly agrees because he doesn't want to die, and Velvet digs up some dirt, as he definitely would. Sneaking around the base, he comes across the basement where Niles Calder is in front of what's called the Think Tank 2, where he's talking to some figure, and that figure turns out to be Mento, who is alive and well. I say well, he's at least alive, but he is stuck in a giant purple tank. For reasons unknown, but it looks very menacing. And he gets a little freaked out. Worm and Velvet escape to the top, but the Doom Patrol know that he is a spy and are jamming the signal that Peacemaker's sending out to the brain implant so he's not blowing up. They have a discussion and tell him that they can try to keep him safe, but realize that there's no way to actually keep them all safe, and that the signal they're jamming is not going to last long. So while Worm is definitely a goner, he begs them to save Velvet, and they take Velvet, as Robot Man does Worm one last solid and throws him up into the sky as he explodes in tears. Very, very sad. But Peacemaker once again teases that there's still a spy inside because Velvet is actually the agent on hand. The plot is starting to come together. We're seeing what Peacemaker has to do with all this and where Peacemaker's spot in the dawn of DC is. And this series, I think, has been very good so far. The
Waller's little
throwbacks in this issue
bitch.
are great. Seeing all the members of the team from the past. Uh, I've been digging it so far. I really have. This one get an 8.75 out of 10. The art's been really good. The story's been interesting. The plot is solid. I don't think there's much to dislike. But I also have not been a lifelong Doom Patrol fan. That's why I've been waiting to hear Brandon's thoughts on this. But we'll definitely have to find out maybe when issue 3
Oh, for
comes
sure.
around. Yeah. So
Yeah,
8.75 out of 10
I
for me.
I am not the librarian that Brandon is, especially when it comes to Doom Patrol, but I am a fan. And this one sucked ass. No, I'm just kidding. It is great. Issue number 2. Hell yeah. I agree with Beast Girl first and foremost. Silas Simon is a kick ass code name.
Yep.
I think it's awesome. It's very close to the Latin name for magic mushrooms, but other than that, I think it is really
that
fucking cool.
that might be intentional.
Right. And what did Mento ever do to Peacemaker? There's a question for Brandon. I can't
Yeah.
help but wonder why the Suicide Squad wants a piece of the Doom Patrol so badly. Uh, that was really sad. What happened with Worm? Turns out
Yeah.
that he's completely innocent. He had like nothing. Not a bad bone in his body. It seemed as though he was just kind of forced to spy on them a little bit. But I guess the big question is that little cute ass slug going to join or destroy the Doom Patrol? Uh, DP is always nuts, and this definitely continues the tradition. All the muckety muck in the team itself, all the craziness that just comes along with Doom Patrol. So far, the story has definitely got my interest peaked. The art is just absolute Doom Patrol. I really, it's so far. It's only 2 issues in, man, but so far, so awesome. I dig it, and I gotta give this an 8 out of 10.
Right on.
Awesome stuff, man.
Yep.
Awesome stuff.
Loving it. All right, with that,
It feels like a modern spin on our. It feels like a modern spin on the good old classic Doom Patrol, and man, you couldn't ask for more than that.
Definitely. Yeah, it's a solid series right now. Dawn of DC's been hitting it out of the park, though I gotta say, so far, with all the issues they have, it's been a solid initiative.
Yeah, except for Superman, it's all been pretty good.
Except for Josh, except for Superman. For the rest of us,
excuse me, but Tom as well.
Yeah.
Tom as well. And you can't argue with him. He's a trained psychiatrist. He knows if it's crazy. And, it's crazy. I'm just saying.
It's crazy.
Psychologist, psychiatrist, we're both saying it's nuts. It's got to be nuts.
Yeah. I can't argue with that too much. No, more so, I won't argue with that too much. Yeah. Anyway, with that, we're going to take a quick commercial break. Don't go away. And we're back. Thank you for sticking with Not a Robot. I knew you wouldn't leave us.
Well, I mean, Brandon did. How do you know?
Don't, please. Oh.
It
fuck,
was
I
only
hope not.
temporarily.
I hope he's coming back
after the commercial.
Yes, as everyone should. Yeah. And Brandon, well, he didn't come back after the commercial. He will definitely come back next week. Yeah. So we we are moving on to our spotlight section for the week, and we are looking at I regret to say DC Universe Lazarus Planet. That's what I regret to say, because fucking what does that have to do with Lazarus Planet? We've been saying that all this time. But it is Revenge of the Gods number 4, with 3 kind of stories in it. There are 2 backups, but they pretty much wrap up stuff as well. The opening story rather, is written by G. Willow Wilson, with pencils from Kian Tormey, inks from Raul Fernandez and Wade Von Grawbadger, with colors from Jordi Belair, letters from Pat Brousseau, and a freaking gorgeous cover from Guillaume March. I gotta say that cover is full of action. and looks friggin' dope. I love it. The only thing that's kind of weird is where Diana's right leg is, but apart from that, it's friggin' amazing.
That's the only thing that's weird.
For me, yes.
All right,
You can
on the
kind of see it
cover,
under her armpit, but yeah.
on the cover, she is saying, "Face the wrath of Shazam," and that's not a sentence I ever thought I would hear. Very weird.
But that has nothing to do with Guillaume Mercher's art, though.
Oh no, by far, no, not at all.
No. Yeah.
The
rest
word
is
balloons do not belong on a cover, creators.
Definitely not.
Okay.
I mean, there might be one or two exceptions, but for the most part, no. No, I agree. Keep that shit in the Silver Age.
Yes, please.
Yeah. All right, so we pick up where we kind of left off last issue. Or maybe that was in Wonder Woman. I'm getting kind of confused about what happened where now. But basically, Diana received the power of Shazam from the newly named Mary Marvel. What's confusing is that in the backup, it showed Diana teaming up with Mary Marvel after she fought Hera. But at the end of the main story, she was going after Hera, and the fight was just beginning. So now we're seeing the fight.
No. During the backup of the last issue of Wonder Woman, what we saw was Wonder Woman taking a random break in the middle of the fight to go.
Oh, that's what it was. Oh,
that's what it was.
Okay. Well then.
Yeah.
Where just that fits here, I don't know. Yeah, I think I remember that now. She said, "No, I hit her. She's falling. I can talk to you now," or something like that.
She needs to gather her something or other. I don't know.
Yeah, that's all right. Point is, here is Diana and Hera in the sky facing each other, and they're just basically having a chat, as you do in a fight. But enough. All of what they've been saying this whole time, though, that Hera is telling her to stand down, and this is nonsense. And Hera is going, "You don't understand. We lost so much. We have to do this." And Diana just doesn't give a shit. So she is using her lasso to show Hera the real truth of her actions, and is causing Hera to feel the pain that she's caused. Yet Hera always has tricks up her sleeve, and while she is bound by the lasso of truth, she is not alone, as the wizard Shazam, the Wizard of Shazam, I forget his actual name, the wizard, you know who I'm talking about, comes crawling onto the battlefield in a big boom of lightning, all beef-caked out as he was when he took Billy's powers. As Diana lands by Billy and Mary, as the trio look on. Excuse me. The wizard frees Hera from the lasso of truth, seemingly breaking the lasso, which was deemed impossible before, but that definitely is happening. And so Diana uses the power of Shazam and decides that now it's time to finish this. Looks upon her allies to give the strength she needs in all its forms, and with one big swoop crashes headfirst into Hera and loses the power of Shazam, finishing Hera, we assume, once and for all. She's not completely out, but she is down.
Sorry, I'm singing Linkin Park in my head. It's not in my head.
Which song are you singing?
Oh, it was Paper Cut.
All right on. I love that one. Yeah. Hera is understandably pissed off, as the other gods that were on her side have decided that maybe this is just dumb, and have decided to just stop fighting. No more of this child's play, as I believe that might be Apollo is saying. And Diana, while she accepts their terms, does not agree to a truce, and like you definitely fought a war. We're not just going to end it like this with a handshake. The fight's done, but don't think this means we're on good terms. And Ares, in his infinite wisdom, decides to pipe up at this point and pull out the hand of God that he found in the river at the beginning of the stories, which is actually Eros' hand. And Eros demands it back, but Ares instead hands it off to, and I practiced this name, I promise, Atlantideus. I think that's how it's pronounced. The angel that saved Steve Trevor in the last issue. Where he gives the hand to him, and
don't remember.
And he is going to guard it safe. The god of love is holding the god of desire's hand and keeping it safe forever. And with this proves a new pact between gods and demigods, where they will begin to work together a bit better to make life better for everyone involved, humans and godkind alike. Billy then turns to Yara and says, look, there's something I've been wanting to ask you this whole time, but also something I've been wanting to tell you and then ask you. He speaks Shazam, turns back to kid form, and says, look, now you know the truth about me, that I'm like 14 years old. You want to go out to dinner? And Yara just puts him down right away, which, yeah, kind of fitting.
Sorry.
Because Yara is like 21, I think, or something like that. There's no way she's...
like, what, 14?
14, 15,
maybe
something like that. Yeah.
Well,
no matter which
Mary's
way.
In college.
Yeah.
Mary's in college now, so Billy's got to be at least 18, because he's
older
than Mary, 18. Right?
I don't know. I didn't think. I thought Mary was the oldest.
Oh, maybe, but he can't be too far behind. If that's, I mean,
no. I think he was always like a year or two behind. So Mary might be like 19 right now.
But he still doesn't have a shot with Yara.
No. No matter which way you look at it, it's just not a good idea for Yara, which completely understandable. Diana takes a moment with Mary and to thank her and thank her for her honor. It was an honor to know her. And they finish off looking at where Hera has gone, but Hera has disappeared, as is the case. Back to Olympus. Ares appears, and Diana asks of their truce, as Ares says that there is no truce. He's the god of war, and he fought a war. That's the only reason he fought this day. So they leave with an until next time, old adversary, until next time. And up on Olympus, we see Hera slinking back to the temple, where she runs into Deimos and Phobos, who decide that...
You need to drink water, homie?
I do. Thank you.
No problem.
It's a bit of a long issue, this one. She runs into Phobos and Deimos, who have been ordered to prevent her from entering the palace by none other than pretty much everyone.
Yeah. Phobos and Deimos say, no, you can't come in here. We never really liked you anyway.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. That was well deserved. That was pretty awesome. As they say, she's no longer the queen of the gods. None of us ever really liked you anyway, so just fuck off. And she is then met. Yeah. She is then met by the wizard, who has shown up to deliver her a message. And that message is that she is unworthy. And takes away potential godhood from her, and that is the last we see of the story. That's it. That's the end of Revenge of the Gods. I'll get into that later. In the first backup, the Amazons backup, which is written by Becky Cloonan and Michael W. Conrad, with pencils from Aletha Martinez, inks from Mark Morales and John Livesay, colors from Alex Guimaras, and letters from Becca Carey, Hippolyta, and the other goddesses she has brought with her. All of the names I don't remember, but they're all there, all 5 of them. They join the fight against Hades and the armies of Tartarus, the skeleton zombie armies, and help the Amazons fight back and save Themyscira from eternal judgment. As Hades reveals that he kind of just thought the island was abandoned, so he figured he'd take it and, have some extra land space. But okay, he'll step back for now. But once he set his mind to something, he does not quit. He simply bides his time and waits. Which, okay. At first you're like, oh, my bad, and then you're like, my bad, but I'm coming back.
But
yeah, okay, sure. Yeah. The goddesses then, include all 5 goddesses, including Hippolyta, then bless the Amazons and Themyscira once more, shrouding them in mystery and giving them their blessing for all eternity and giving them renewed strength, with the promise that they bring their own strength to man's world and help bring it to the next step of the Earth's evolution, realistically. And the Amazons are now left to control their own destiny. That is to be continued in the pages of Wonder Woman. And finally, hold on while I take a drink of water. Almost there. The Shazam backup, which finishes off the story that was written by Josie Campbell with art from Caitlin Yarsky and colors from Jordi Belair, plus letters from Clayton Cowles. The story that was started in New Champion of Shazam ends here. Yeah, back in Washington, D.C., Mary and Billy are just having a chat, and Billy... they basically tease each other as brothers and sisters will, but then Billy's like, there's one thing I have to do, and he calls forth the wizard from the Rock of Eternity in his chest, and Billy says, Mary's about to like berate the wizard, but Billy said, look, I know why you did it, I get it, whatever, maybe I was unworthy, I don't care. The point is, Mary should be the champion because Earth still needs one. Give her the power. I might not be worthy, but Mary definitely is. And both the wizard and Mary go, what?
Right.
Billy concedes that Mary is just better at it than he is, but Mary's like, you idiot. I feel the exact same way as you. I don't necessarily want this any more than you do. But the wizard was like, look, the fact that you are doing this, and maybe I was wrong, you cut me out from the Rock of Eternity. I thought I was betrayed, but maybe I was mistaken. This does deem you worthy. But at that time, Hippolyta shows up with her goddess power and provides Mary the same comfort. And with the stamina of righteous Artemis, let me do this in alphabetical order because they do not do this on the page. The agility of moon-touched Selene, the strength of Hippolyta, Amazon Queen, the stamina of righteous Artemis, the flight of Zephyrus, she of the West Wind, the invulnerability of Aurora, the unconquered Dawn, and the wisdom of thrice cunning Minerva. With them on her side, all Mary has to do is speak the word aloud, as Billy does with the wizard, as they both say Shazam, and together they are both the champion of Shazam. And that ends Josie Campbell's story for the SHAZAMary. And next we will see them in Shazam #1 for Mark Waid and Dan Mora, which I'm kind of sad about. Like, I'm excited for Mark Waid and Dan Mora Shazam, but I gotta say, Josie Campbell and Caitlin Yarsky have been doing really good work with Mary and the SHAZAMary at large recently. So I'm kind of disappointed that we're not getting more from them. I do hope that maybe there's going to be a Mary Marvel backup in Shazam #1 from Josie Campbell and Caitlin Yarsky and Jordi Belair. I'd be down to see that, but I'm not going to hold my breath because there's been nothing said so far. It might just be Mark Waid and Dan Mora. All in all, though, the Shazam backup was easily the best part of the issue. I think the main story ended kind of weirdly. was just very abrupt. Like, I thought there was going to be a bit more resolution, maybe with, the rest of the Team Wonder Woman. The rest of the cast didn't even get to speak. There was nothing from Etta or Steve or Siegfried or Cheetah. Nothing. They just showed up on a panel and that was it. Ares didn't fight once, which, okay, whatever, I can forgive that, but it was still kind of weird. It just ended so suddenly. It was kind of odd. There wasn't even a the end. unless right. How I read it was missing a page, but it was kind of weird. Amazon's ending kind of nicely. We'll see where that goes. But it looks like the to be continued pages of Wonder Woman will pretty much just be the next couple of issues, and then who knows when we'll see the Amazons again. All in all, 6 out of 10. It's not the greatest ending to an event title. I still don't know why it was called Lazarus Planet. The art was really nice. I really liked the art. The story was kind of meh, I got to admit. Yeah. At least by the end, it was there were some parts in the middle that I kind of enjoyed, but the middle or the end was honestly kind of meh.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so fights all over. Panda Nubia and the rest of the Amazons on page 19, I think. We get Artemis there, but not Artemis that everybody wants. We get short, dark hair, fur vest, antlers on the head, mythological goddess Artemis. And I feel like poor choice, because I want Bana McDowell Artemis and her lovely long waving red hair, and we didn't get that. So bummer. Strike one. Past that, there are literally 2 pages of this huge, massive war between the heroes and the gods. 2. There's a buttload of talking in between those 2 pages, but that's all. Just 2 pages. What a waste. The concept of this, it's a pretty damn good story, and I am a huge G. Willow Wilson fan, but this ending fell as flat as a piece of paper on the floor. The art is fantastic, but I feel really let down here. And the Amazons, of course, they all walk away, every single one of them without a scratch. Everything is country gravy, which is the best kind of gravy unless you count chocolate. And it's all set back to how it originally was. After that, Themyscira is shielded again to the outside world. I don't get what the point of this fucking arc was at all. At all. Billy's Shazam, Mary's got Shazam powers. Nothing has changed in any way, shape, or form. The rest, I mean, great, I guess. I'm glad Mary gets to be a hero for sure. I wanted that. The goddesses' names spell out Shazam, like Rob pointed out. Great, I guess. But I don't quite get why they went that route rather than maybe, I don't know, let her always have the powers, or let her keep the equipment of the gods that she was given, or maybe a different word to activate her powers. I am assuming that she's going to keep going by Mary Marvel, but there's not much of a secret identity there. It could lead to great stories. I'm just confused as to why they went this way. The end result is great as far as Mary's concerned. The way there, really not so much. Again, the art is great. It's perfect here for the SHAZAMary. There's gotta be a better word for it than that. Altogether, great art. It's not a bad premise. I'm confused. I'm let down. And I've wasted my time throughout this entire arc. The whole thing, with Rob, art bonus included, 6 out of 10.
Yeah.
Just
so bad he had to make up a word.
Yes.
All right, so that is our spotlight section for the week. We are shutting off the spotlight in Gotham City for now. And well, okay, we're shutting off the spotlight in another city and turning it on in Gotham City is what I should say, because now we're going into our full dive section for the week and starting off with Detective Comics number 1071. Bear with me, this was a book Brandon was going to cover up until like 3 hours ago when I suddenly had to take it, so I don't have much prepared, and this one kind of confused me. So let's see how I do. It also took me 2 days to read it because I was busy, so we'll see how I do. Uh, we open. Oh my god. See, I can't even start. We open on the Orgum Place grand opening in Gotham City, where the Bat family are standing watch and making sure things are going okay. But they're also going to infiltrate and make sure things are okay on the inside. And with Batman is Nightwing and Cassandra Cain Batgirl, as well as Oracle on comms to run the show. Before they go swooping in completely, Barbara, Oracle, asks Bruce about the conversation he had with Talia, as Talia explains the story of the past, even further with her father, Ra's al Ghul, and his time with the Orgums in ancient history. And where that went, telling the story of Arzen's parents and how he was born and what happened to his father, how his mother was going to betray him after they were sent, as he was sent out with Ra's al Ghul to uncover lost treasures in a lost city. She ordered Ra's al Ghul to kill him, and they did come across those treasures, but the keeper of those treasures heeded a warning, a great warning indeed, and Arzen's father did end up taking some of the treasures for himself, yet Ra's al Ghul decides to spare his life, or at least warn him of this treachery, and yet kills him instead because he is given a choice. You can either go back and deem your son to a life of potential death or treachery himself, or you can run away and never return. But because Ra's al Ghul is a man of his word and a man on a mission, he ends up killing him anyway and returns back to his home instead of the home of the Orgums with the treasure, so he betrays both people in the end. That is where the tale ends for now. In the present day, if I can just go back to where it is, in the Orgum Royal Palace in Svartsal, I do not know how to pronounce that word. The Orgum Royal Palace in that country, whose name I do not know how to pronounce. Zvastral. I'm not even going to try.
It doesn't matter what their name is.
Okay, Dwayne. You're right. It doesn't matter what the name is. It's the Orgum Royal Palace, where the Queen has graced the people with her presence and is going to see her mother, who has a large stone stuck in her head, and this stone is actually one of the treasures that was taken from, or at least was taught about in the story that Talia told Bruce. She's being warned by the stone that someone is on the way to take it, and that someone is none other than Vandal Savage himself, the ever-living bastard of a man, who tends to just show up every time there is a story in history. And this is no different. So he has shown up to take this stone, and it turns out this stone might actually be a fragment of the meteor that granted him eternal life. And he does. He goes into the throne room, or the bedroom, I guess, of the old queen, and rip the stone from her head, where she gives him a warning as she bleeds to death that this is a battle he has not won yet. There is a war coming, and it will be won in Gotham. As with that warning, he leaves with the stone and threatens to kill everyone else that he has not killed where they stand. Yet he says, I will spare you their life. and instead I will see you in Gotham, where the stone has whispered me to go. Meanwhile, Batman has been preparing for his fight with the Orgums and has landed in the tunnels underneath the building where the festivities have begun. Yet Arzen and the Orgums are also preparing for themselves, and that is where the story ends for now. A lot of history lessons here. A lot to look forward to next issue. But before we get to that, there is the backup, and this is going to be interesting for me because this is a backup I've not been invested in. So again, bear with me. From what I gather, the boy has rescued the therapist from Mr. Freeze's clutches, yet Mr. Freeze stops him before he can completely free her from the ice and freezes his arm into a solid block of ice. Yet the therapist gets out and finds a grenade somehow, somewhere, and threatens to blow everything up as Mr. Freeze tries to talk her down, and she just tells everyone to shut up and basically goes off on Victor. How, look, I know you're basically mentally unwell. Or you're not mentally unwell. You're just a narcissistic prick, and goes off on how he feels about his wife and all the things he's been saying and his reaction towards her. And basically, he's just pathetic with a swift kick in the nuts, leaving him there in pain.
She cut him right off at the cubes.
You know, those ice cubes are shattered. And with that, the therapist and the boy are on the way out. As the boy goes, it's this way. But Mr. Freeze gets up and says, "Look, you're wrong about me. This machine, it's not for Nora. It's not for you. It's for me, and it's clearly worked." And he hints that the therapist, who was in her 40s, now looks a significantly great deal younger than she did before. Specifically, she might just look like she's in her 20s now. So the machine clearly works. Yeah. And it's not for Nora. It's not for her. It's not for anybody but himself. What he wants to do is de-age himself so he can go back to a younger version and basically start over and be a better man. Where he's learned his lesson. Exactly. He's learned his lessons the hard way and knows that he wants a second chance, and this is how he's going to do it. Not through, showing he's changed, but by physically changing himself with science. So as much as he's come to a good realization, it also is just not the right way to go about it in a way. So before she can actually get through to him and say, wait, if this is true, then maybe I can help you, he freezes the doorway off so they can no longer access him. And I would say that's where Victor's story ends, but the two walk away, and then Victor realizes that the boy had touched the superconductors of his machine, and he recognizes the energy. It is powerful, and the fount of this energy is actually Arkham Asylum, or Arkham Island, I guess I should say. And that is where that story ends. The mystery of this boy goes a bit further. He definitely has ties to Arkham, but we already knew that. But how deep these ties go, we've yet to find out. The backup was more interesting this time. As I said, I have not been invested in these backups. This boy, if he was named, I forgot his name. I have not really been invested in his story, but this part of this backup definitely moves some pieces around, so it's been a bit more interesting for me than in the past. As for the main story, it does look like things are coming to a head. Might the end be near? We don't know, but it looks like it might be coming soon. And of course, Vandal Savage is part of the story. There's history involved in the story, so Vandal Savage is there. It's just what's going to happen. But I did not expect him to show up and be a part of the overall war that's coming to Gotham. That's going to be interesting.
He's always there lurking in the background, but I didn't expect him to be showing up here for sure.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So I'm excited to see where this is going to go. Rumvy's been crafting a heck of a tale. 8.5 for DC 1071.
Hell yeah. First and foremost, let me say I am not a fan of abbreviating Detective Comics, but I will take DC over top of Tech any fucking day. I hear someone call Detective Comics Tech, and I want to smack them like with a fish.
A clownfish? I will never say
Sure.
tech. I will never call it tech out loud with like my own as an actual word, but I'll short form it in text so I don't have to write detective because it's a long word.
That's
I'll just do tech.
that's sinful. That's sinful. All right, so the first part. It's a cool trip to the past. I really do dig working Vandal and Raish and their history together in this story. A couple of things. Where does this put Mother Soul? How does she fit into this
You know?
now? Or is that just cast by the wayside? Does Mother Soul still exist? I completely understand why she wouldn't. It was a complete shit story involving her at the end of Williamson's Robin run. It ruined the run.
Oh
This story
God.
though, it did, and you know it. This story though, it
I
gets
didn't
better
hate
with
it.
every issue. Ram V, it is not debatable. Ram V is a master storyteller. Ivan Reyes is an art god, and the rest of the team here is seriously top of the class. You can't get much better than that on the first part. It's 9 out of 10. Second part, honestly, a really good looking, satisfying conclusion to what I thought started out as a very stupidly weird story. Victor Freeze is trying to be a good dude through science, unbreak himself, and that is not something that I saw coming.
Yep.
From the previous issues, I, and I'm sure loads of other people, thought he was just dipping back into the old Mr. Freeze pool. But now I'm really curious what happens with this little trio next. Um, the man, the boy, I suppose, the now 20-year-old, and I wonder if we've seen the last of this earworm character. Uh, Thought it was kind of funny how he's like, "You're 40. Let's avoid reflective surfaces on the way out."
Yep.
Uh,
Don't want to give you a
I
scare.
right. I love both parts, man. This was awesome. I gave it a 9 out of 10 for sure.
Oh, right on.
That's what I said.
Yeah. All right, so that is one of the longest running series in DC Comics history. And now
For
we're going
sure.
to the other longest running series in DC Comics history with Action Comics 1054, brought to us by Josh.
This is a three-parter, guys, and I like to talk, so hold on to your horses. All right, part one, written by Philip Kennedy Johnson, art Max Raynor, color Matt Herms, letter Dave Sharp, and the cover is from Steve Beach. Cool cover, by the way. Not what I would call your typical cover, what you would expect from this, but it is awesome and it does work.
Mm-hmm.
So, part one, picking up right where we left off, we're at the scene of the attack, and apparently one of the super twins, Otho, is behind it. John and Osul fly out to see what's happening, Osul being the other super twin, and find out that Otho has killed someone to defend the city. John flies in to help the guy who, isn't dead, thank goodness, but it turns out to be Metallo, or rather one of his drones. And that drone is not alone. There are loads of them. John and the Super Twins start taking out the Necro drones, and that's when Metallo, who happens to be drawn the absolute best that I have ever seen him drawn anywhere, shows up. He socks John hard and kidnaps Osul and Otho, saying that they'll be his family now. Though John wants to be the one to go save them because he knows that they think he hates them, Clark says nope and takes off while the rest of the super fam are there to take out all the Necro drones, and there are plenty. Clark shows up, confronts Metallo, and that's when we learn that Metallo's heart is actually an orphan box made of Genesis material. That's that little thing that amped Clark's powers up to extreme levels during his fight on Warworld. Also, it negates the effect of kryptonite on Superman, so Metallo's trademark weapon against Clark is useless. Clark takes him out really quick and offers to help him find his sister Tracy in true Superman fashion. Oh, excuse me for 1 second here. Goodness. All right. So next we flip to Tracy, who is held upside down with hoses everywhere, Matrix style, and some Superman looking dude is approaching her. This Superman looking dude says that his body was made from the blood of Metallo's fists during his last big fight at Steelworks. It's some kind of new cyborg Superman with a really funky metal arm, and that funky metal arm has a buzzsaw attachment. That's when he says to Tracy, your brother kind of let me down, but let's see what kind of use you can be. Damn. Now this just got interesting. Cyborg Superman was a really good villain before things got all fucking weird way back when, and he was completely unimpressive after that. This is definitely a new kind of Cyborg Superman, looks a lot more menacing and seems that way too. Damn, this is so good, and the art is just as awesome. I mean, call me a shovel because I dig it. The first the first part is so good that if I was grading them separately, it would get a 9.5 out of 10 from me, for sure. Then we've got part 2. Did you want, since these are a little bigger, did you want to give me your thoughts on part 1 real quick before I get into the next part, or do you want to save it to the end?
Yeah, we'll save it all to the end. Why not?
All right, sounds good. Part 2, written by and also on pencils, is Dan Jurgens. Norm Rapman is on inks. Elizabeth Breitweiser on color, and Rob Lee on lettering. We are back with the John and Gliana story. They've escaped in an escape pod. You know, that makes sense. They land very roughly, and it does not look good for Gliana as she is unconscious in the crashed spaceship. She's okay, though, after John pulls her out, though he gets burned really badly. Remember, this is old John, and his powers haven't fully come in yet. Which is what happened, which is a part of what happens here pretty soon. It's okay that he gets burned because Gliana can heal him, just like she forced the decay previously. Now she can remove that as well. So John gets healed. Then this is when we find out why Gliana is, well, why she's here in the first place. She's looking for help from Superman. Turns out her parents were the king and queen of Plune, of course, but that planet is dying because they used up all of their resources a very long time ago. So, as one would expect, its citizens revolted and killed her parents. She escaped and she wants Superman to help her retake her place on the throne. We find out that they are too far from home for John to fly him there, so he calls out to his dad for help. Clark hears him, but he is dealing with Doombreaker right now. And a pretty badass looking Doombreaker, if I may say so myself. Back to John and Gliana, Killer Mech shows up, and Gliana reveals that Killer Mech works for her. Killer Mech, at Gliana's order, puts John in stasis and then villain monologues her plan. She wants to be able to control Superman, basically. Again, let's start this out with damn. This story seemed so dumb when I read the first issue, but holy crap, it's gotten so good. The art is fantastic, as we always see in a Superman book, especially Action Comics, with the exception of a creative team from a few years ago that shall not be named. Bendis. JR. And I'll be damned if Jurgens didn't just make this story not just interesting, but really fucking good. Another one, if graded independently, would get a 9.25 out of 10. And then, finally, we go to part 3. Written by Dorado Quick, who I've not heard of before. Art from Yasmin Flores Montanez. Colors from Brad Anderson. And again on letters, we have Dave Sharp. Steelworks time. This happens before Action Comics 1051, so 3 issues ago or longer. Doesn't say how far before 1051. But anyway, it's John Henry Irons versus Amalgam. Amalgam talks some smack about overcompensation because John has a hammer and John drops the hammer. That's when Amalgam knocks him out, and John says, maybe I do need the hammer. Natalie wakes him up and he basically says, let's go warranty breaking badass mode. Steel takes him down and then shoots over to the press conference that he's almost late for at Steelworks, and that is where he reveals his identity to the world, much to Natalie's pleasure. Watching the TV in some other location, a man whose face you can barely see, the man who sent Amalgam after Steel, says, be seeing you soon, John. So I think this is a good start to a story. I like seeing Steel in his own arc, and Natalie with him is just perfect. She needs to be in there too. What's in store? Who's that guy? Who the hell knows, but the story is fire. Now, I'm honestly not a big fan of the art in this section. Some is good, but most other places, something seems off about it. Too rounded or something, I really can't tell what it is. But it could be better for sure, especially compared to the other parts of this book. But altogether, this is an awesome issue with dynamic storytelling and some seriously visually stunning art. Hooray for Action Comics, where you know all of it will always be worth the cover price. Freaking awesome. For the whole issue, I'm going to give it a 9.25 out of 10. So where were you at?
Fair. I was pretty much right there with you the whole way through. The main story rather, was very interesting, very good. I'm loving the art throughout. The twists and turns with Cyborg, Superman, and Metallo semi-working together is something that I'm sure has happened before, but is also one of those things you're like, yeah, no, of course they should definitely work together, despite the fact that Metallo did not know that he was working with Cyborg Superman.
Surprise,
and
surprise,
Superman, right? And Superman being Superman for Metallo is just so in character. I love this voice that Philip Kennedy Johnson has for Clark. It's just perfect.
Absolutely perfect.
I am so stoked to see Cyborg Superman. He's actually one of my favorite Superman villains. Partially because he's technically also a Green Lantern villain, so I've had a lot of exposure to him. But also it's just right. I find Hank Henshaw kind of an interesting character, like somebody that and this might just be part of the Green Lantern story. Somebody that wants to die but can't die no matter how hard he tries, so he just says, fuck it, I'm gonna kill everybody else for it. Until I can eventually die. So it's interesting to me. Yeah. It's like a kind of an anti-Terminator in a way, while also not being a Terminator. Or being a Terminator.
I suppose, yeah.
Yeah.
We don't really know with this iteration of Cyborg Superman. We don't even know if this is Hank Henshaw, though it does look like Hank Henshaw. There's definitely some. If that is Hank, there's been some upgrades.
Oh yeah, there's definitely something a little off about him. And we're so the Dan Jurgens backup with Young John, Lois and Clark 2. I've been digging it since the first part. I'm really interested in it. Kind of had a feeling this lady was not all she seemed to be, and there we have confirmation that she is. I had a feeling. I wasn't really sure what was going on. I figured there was a lie, but I did not expect her to be the full villain. But there's confirmation that she's not all she seemed up to be.
See, I was thinking that they were like introducing a new character, showing that if she had been in the past and there was an explanation as to why she was going to show up in the future and shit. But no, no. Jurgens surprised the shit out of me.
Yeah. No, it had to have been some reason why she never showed up again. And finally, with the Steelworks story, I really liked it. I'm interested. I can't wait for Steelworks #1. I can't wait to see what they do with it and where they take these characters. So seeing John Henry Irons in action solo has been a long time coming. Is really cool to see, and him pulling a 2008 Iron Man movie and just landing at the press conference, removing his armor, saying "I am Steel." It was very cool to see, and the guy at the end with and this is gonna bury the lead on my guess, with those T-spheres floating around his head. I wonder who the hell that is.
What? How did I miss that?
I'm honestly, I'm assuming they're T-spheres because they are spherical orbs and they're floating around his head and they look about the right size. So that's
it's not Mr.
only
Terrific.
Reason.
So it's not
could be.
It's not. No, he doesn't. No.
I mean, they give the illusion that this guy is very villainous, but there's no real reason to believe that. It's just what we're like. We've gone over years and years and years of, oh, here's the end of the story. Here's a shadowy figure watching the hero on monitors. They must be a villain. But there's never anything to say that. They always end up being the villain. So this might just be suspension of disbelief, right?
I mean, it could be, but the line "be seeing you soon, John" doesn't come across as a possible ally. It doesn't look like Mr. Terrific, mostly because he's not wearing the face mask, I suppose. But it looks like a white guy to me. And it doesn't look like
maybe I'm wrong. He looked kind of black to me. I don't know. It's hard as hell with the coloring.
There's a evil version of Mr. Terrific, but I can't remember.
I was thinking that I couldn't remember who it was.
It's something the opposite of fair play, and I can't remember what it is.
My only idea here is when he says "be seeing you, John." So John's opening Steelworks as a tech company, and Mr. Terrific already has was it Holt Industries that they had going on over in the Flash?
No, Terrific Tech.
Terrific Tech, thank you. Yeah, I think I was getting confused with Cord Industries. Yeah, so Terrific Tech. So automatically rival tech company. Like, while he's not necessarily a villain for the piece, there's definitely some business dealings they got to work out here because now they're rivals, and they're both in the hero community. So I don't know. That's just my theory. I'm probably very wrong. The only thing I have to go on with this is the floating orbs around the head. That's the only reason I think this. But we'll see. We'll see when Steelworks comes around. Either way, I really liked it. The whole issue was solid. I give it 8.75 out of 10.
Right on. Just so you know, though, Terrific Tech is a new name for his company, or at least newer. It used to be Holt Industries.
Oh, okay, so I had something there going. All right, fair enough.
You weren't wrong. You were just old. That's all.
Yeah.
How's it feel?
How's it feel? It feels like I've been feeling for the past 5 years. Closer I got to my 30s, the older I felt. Now I'm in my 30s.
Yeah, wait till you hit 40 and you learn that you can't trust a fart.
I already can't trust a fart.
Oh no!
I'm not waiting until my 30s or my 40s rather. I do pride myself on excellent bladder and bowel control though. So sometimes you never know. Sometimes
I mean,
sometimes fucking something sneaks out. You never know.
You got to take the bright side where you can find the bright side.
Exactly. All right, so that brings us to the last book of the week, and it is the long-awaited Green Arrow #1. the latest chapter in the Dawn of DC imprint. And with the blurb on the cover, it's time for a family reunion, even if it kills them. Uh, as much as I love that quote, it's not 100% accurate, as we'll see in the issue. Right. So we pick up.
Well, maybe.
Right? Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe.
We open, not pick up. We open on Oliver Queen waking up on a shore, which is something he's done a few times already. And he screams out, "Hell no, not again. How does this keep happening to me?" But then he looks around and sees that it's not your typical deserted island. It is very mystical, if not universal or alien, because there's a whole bunch of plant life and structures he's never seen before. Plus, he can see planets very close by in the night sky. So clearly something's going on here. We do a brief rundown of his history, from him being a billionaire playboy jackass to being stranded on the island, training with various heroes and villains, and then seeing everything tumble apart around him and being reborn again to where he ended up now. When the Justice League fell, he fell harder and was taken away somewhere else. He gives us a reintroduction into the Arrow family, if you will call them that. Roy Harper, Connor Hawke, and Dinah Lance. Roy Harper, a.k.a. Speedy, a.k.a. Arsenal, a.k.a. Red Arrow. I do hope they go back to Red Arrow, because I really like that time for Roy. Connor Hawke, a.k.a. Green Arrow, a.k.a. his son. Okay, not the part with the arm going missing. The rest of it, though.
No, Arsenal. He needs to be Arsenal. I like Arsenal.
Yeah.
There's already a Red Arrow.
I guess, yeah. I really like that part with Brad Meltzer's Justice League when he became Red Arrow, because, like, okay, he's graduated now. He's grown up, and now he's taken on that mantle. But you're right, there is another Red Arrow now, so Arsenal it is. And yes, Dinah Lance, a.k.a. Pretty Bird, a.k.a. Black Canary. The trio are hot on the tail of some people who they stumbled upon, and then they drove away, so they figure they're up to something, because they're trying to figure out what the hell happened to Oliver. They get the... They actually catch up to this truck, and with Dinah's sonic scream, wheels them off the road, and the trio chase them down. But before Roy can fire an arrow into the last guy that's trying to escape, none other than Cheshire Cat, who you saw in recent Rom v. Catwoman comics, shows up, kicks the guy in the face, beats him down, and shoots a dart into another guy's shoulder, and takes him down. And then they all have a little chat, and Cheshire Cat says, "It's been great having this team up, but I gotta go. Good luck in Alleytown. It's not really the safest place." But then Roy, realizing who it is right away, starts to talk to Cheshire Cat and says, "You threw your first ninja star when you were 2 years old," which stops Cheshire Cat in her steps. Right at the spot. She leans up against a fence because she's so nervous about what's happening, and Roy just goes on and on about all the memories he has with her, and finishes with his daughter was 5 years old when she was taken from him, but says, "Look, whenever you're ready, you can come home." And Leanne removes her mask and runs into her father's arms, and I fucking cried. I'm gonna be honest with you. I was reading this at work and I started tearing up, and I just I can't do this in the lunchroom. I gotta wait till I get home. It was a hell of a moment. This has been a long time coming, complete with a background image of Roy with a young Leanne holding him up in his old Speedy outfit. It was so nice to see. The only issue I have with this is that I firmly believe Dinah would be crying too. Why is she not crying in this? Sorry, I forgot to...
she's a natural-born skeptic.
I forgot to do the credits. I was so excited to get into this. I'll do them now while I'm on this kind of midpoint of the issue. This is written by Joshua Williamson with art from Sean Izakasi, colors from Romulo Fajardo Jr., and letters from Troy Pateri, with a gorgeous cover from Sean and Romulo. So picking up where I left off, excuse me, Leanne is now reuniting herself with Connor and Dinah, and kind of lets on a bit more on than they would have known that Cheshire did possibly suspect some things, but Leanne does remember what Cheshire was like in her previous life and the life she led. So she doesn't really want to go back to her. She wanted to go back to Roy, but couldn't find him. Uh, well, not so much that she couldn't find him, not just that, but she does bury the lead with "They'll never let our family be together." And as Roy is asking what she means, Leanne and Connor are being teleported away as Leanne says, "Find Amanda Waller." And Roy is understandably pissed off, so he goes, "Where the fuck is Amanda Waller?" Where is she? So
as any good father would do.
Oh hell yeah! I definitely would too. I don't blame him there. Ollie has been narrating the entire time and says, "Hold on, don't get mad yet. There's a lot more to be mad about because this story is just getting started." Leanne gets teleported onto a weird platform in some mystical tech city, which you can recognize is the same place that Oliver has been, but she is alone. Connor is not there. At least she's not alone without Connor. I mean, she's not alone. Connor is not there, but a manhunter is also there. The Guardians manhunters, where there will be no escape. No
ones.
Man can withstand. No man escapes the manhunters. But Oliver arrives in some new high-tech suit and shoots a buzzsaw arrow through the manhunter's head, or chainsaw arrow rather, which Leanne asks, "Was that a chainsaw arrow?" And Ollie goes, "You got to make do with what's a hand, kid, because you got to find what's lying around. You use it, because goddamn, Oliver's a master." So they are being chased by manhunters, but Oliver makes quick work of them with his arrows, and they come across a giant machine. Oliver knew she was coming and who she even is, to which she is surprised, but he knows because of this machine they come across, and it is a cosmic omniporter multiversal network system, which Oliver just made up on the spot. But basically, it's a teleporter, and instead of using it to get them home, he blows it up. To which Leanne is kind of really pissed off and confused, saying, "We could have used that to get home and tell her dad the truth about why this keeps happening to us." And as Oliver goes, "There's only one truth. We can never go home." And that is the end of the issue. To be continued. Holy hell, it was a thrill ride. Simply amazing. My only thing I could say about it that I'm kind of weary about, and that is kind of a thing with Williamson. It might be too big of a beginning, and that means it might falter near the end. When you have such a huge story to tell, and then you start it so big, how do you end something that massive? That's the problem I think Williamson had with this Flash run. He always had big stories to tell, but never a nice way to end it. It was always a small ending. So that's where I fear this is going to go.
Run, when what you really meant was everything.
I don't feel that way about everything. That's you. I'm different.
You're just not willing to admit it yet.
Nah, it's this. That's how I see it, man. The Deathbed was good. I enjoyed his Robin run.
Up until the Mother Soul bullshit.
I enjoyed that stuff, mate. Fuck. Really? I had no problem with it. Yeah. The last couple of issues weren't as exciting, but like I enjoyed that entire run. Even Deathstroke Inc., but Shadow War was kind of meh. He's hit or miss. He's like, for me, he's like Tom King. He's hit or miss on the stories, but this is one thing where like
strong too.
Yeah, but that's the thing about that I'm kind of noticing now. This specifically, it's not even just the end of all his Flash arcs. It's when they were bigger stories. He always starts big, but he doesn't end big. It's always a small ending, so it doesn't cope as well. Excuse me. So I am worried that that's where this might be going. But for now, I'm really enjoying this first issue. I thought it was really well done. The art was fantastic, and we finally had that special moment that has been a long time coming, and we've all been waiting for, where Roy gets reunited with Leanne, and in true comics fashion, loses her instantly. Because fuck, this is why we can't have nice things. Son of a bastard.
Ain't
Anyway,
that the truth?
yeah. I really enjoyed this issue. I think I've said that enough. 9.25 out of 10. Holy hell, it's a good number one. I just hope that sticks the landing.
All right, so before I get into my opinions on this, I've got some questions and comments real quick.
Okay.
First, at the very beginning, it says, lose one Green Arrow and find another. I'm assuming that they mean they lost Ollie and found Connor.
Yeah, that's how I took it anyway. That's
okay.
Because Connor showed up like the next page.
All right. So is this the first time that we've seen Team Arrow riding out as a motorcycle gang?
I can't comment for previous comics, but that's at least that was the thing in the TV show.
Yeah, they've got matching motorcycles, matching helmets, and they're all color scheme appropriate. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
As far as Cheshire goes, Cheshire is a complicated character. Roy's ex-love interest. Started out as the daughter of a U.S. senator, then that was changed, and it turned out that then her history was completely retconned, and she came out as Vietnamese, and then she was in the New 52 with Grifter, but as Nico, not Cheshire. Then when she came back again, she was in the League of Assassins, and then she came back again and started wearing the Young Justice Cheshire Cat costume. Did I miss anything?
I don't know. I haven't really.
Cheshire at this point is nearly on par with Donna Troy. Everything is so convoluted. Yeah. Leanne has always been her daughter, though, right? I'm not imagining that. It's always been Roy and Cheshire's
that's
kid.
The case, yeah.
Okay.
I can only agree. I don't know much about Cheshire's history, so I can't really comment on that. But I imagine that's the case.
So Cheshire Cat is Leanne, but also Shoes. And am I nuts, or did she look completely different as Shoes? It didn't look like this way? At all.
Like
as in different hair, different face. I'd have to go back to make double sure, but if I'm not mistaken, Shoes was drawn as a completely different character.
I wouldn't say it's also a different artist, but I think the hair was the same anyway.
Okay, maybe I could totally be wrong, but that was just a question that I had. Yeah. Another question out into the ether is, what in the fuck is the connection between Amanda Waller and Catwoman's strays? You would think that there would have to be one for the whole beam me up Scotty deal, right? I mean, something you'd is. Think.
Well,
and then finally,
not even necessarily just Catwoman strays, but the Arrow family specifically, because Connor gets taken as well.
That's very true. Finally, is it just me? I know that the Ollie that we see is our Ollie, but does it seem like something has happened to him? I don't know what it is, but something feels different with Ollie. Maybe it's just the way that Williamson is writing him. But something feels changed. Not necessarily bad, but maybe it's just his voice.
There's.
I'm not sure.
For one thing, he's stranded on another desert island, but right before that, he was brutally murdered by Doomsday. That's gonna make someone change, if anything.
Ollie's got a little PTSD. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, I don't know, maybe, but I think he's going to have to start a support group with Superman.
Seems to help. That new, they can go see Power Girl, right?
Yeah.
Yes, I said microdose. But that new costume, that's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
Of course, it's not going to stick around after this, but it's pretty cool for this adventure.
As cool as it is, I hope it doesn't stick around because I like his old costume.
Right. So this story, it's really good to see. Of course, I want to see Leanne come back to Roy. Who doesn't? Of course, I want to see Team Arrow back together again. Who doesn't? Listeners, if you don't, I mean, I don't know why.
Yeah.
The art is absolutely stunning in here, except for some facial expressions that were really bad. But I mean, altogether, really good effort on the art. This story has the beats in it I would like to see, but I'm just not hearing the song yet. I definitely need to see where this is all going and how the hell we're getting there before I can say that this long awaited and very much wanted fan service piece will be good. So far, it seems like a pretty damn decent setup issue, but I mean, considering where it's coming from, and it's not being pedantic at all, but it's a great setup issue. I don't have high hopes for the series yet. It's going to take me a few. With the exception of the art, though, until I see more of the story, that's all I got. This can be great. I fucking hope it is. We've needed Green Arrow back in his own title for so long. We've needed Leanne back with Roy for so long. We've needed Team Arrow back together for so long. And I hope that this sticks to landing more than anything I have seen Williamson write in the last 8, hell, even 10 years. This book, he cannot fuck up. In my opinion, he has fucked up everything else. He fucked up Crisis. He fucked up Infinite Frontier. He fucked up Flash. He fucked up Robin. He's fucking up Superman. But he cannot, fuck up Arrow. If he fucks up Green Arrow, it's going to be another decade before we get another Green Arrow book, because they're going to say that it's the character, and it's not. This has everything we all want. I just want it tied up in a nice little bow when it's done. Hesitations aside, kick-ass issue, and I give it an 8 out of 10.
Fair enough. Right on. Yeah, no, that honestly, that's very fair. Like, you're right. This realistically cannot go bad. It should not go bad, because, like you said, if it goes bad, fuck knows when we're gonna get another Green Arrow.
Exactly.
As annoying as it is, that's a fair point. But I think we might be onto something here. But like I said, I'm gonna wait till the end and see how it goes. Hopefully for the best. That's how I felt about the Superman story, and honestly, I was impressed with the way it ended. I thought it was quite nice. So I have some hope here, but we'll see how it goes. And that is our books for the week.
Fair enough.
Yeah, now we are going to get into our top 3 of the week and favorite moment if you had one. I think we all had one. I know I had one. I'm looking at it right now. All right. Josh, you want to start us off?
I can do that. I am going to... Okay, so in third place, I give it to Harley. If I pull in the honorable mentions, Dead Boy Detectives is right there on par with Harley. It is just as good. Easily a 9+. Detective Comics takes number 2. Why? Because read the fucking thing. It's great. And first place has to go to the overachiever this week, and it is Action Comics. It just front to back just licks the competition and spits it out. It's wonderful. Now, for my favorite moment, there were a whole bunch that were pretty fucking cool, man. Leanne running back to Roy. I mean, there's a whole bunch. So I thought outside of the box. what would be the greatest moment if all of those great moments were shoved to the side? What little tiny moment would stick out for me? Well, it initially got an eye roll from me, but then an immediate chuckle. So there were some pretty cool moments this week, like I said, but Zatanna turning her piece of ass into a rabbit was pretty fucking funny. I don't quite understand why she said she just saved his life, but it was still funny.
Yeah.
Totally different new way to see Zatanna with the infomercials and the Supergirl ploy, but
Yeah.
altogether pretty nice, pretty nice.
And if you didn't realize or rather notice it, because it did take me a couple minutes to really hem and haw if I was seeing it right. That booty call rabbit was John Constantine.
Oh, is it? Nope, I
Yeah.
sure as shit did not notice that.
He's got the blonde hair and the red tie. He's naked, so you don't have the trench coat but he's got the red tie and the blonde hair.
I'm
So
flipping back
that's
because
yeah, that's the only reason I'm thinking it is John Constantine, but they've had romantic entanglement in the past, John and Zatanna,
oh
so
no, 100%. That is
yeah.
100% John Constantine.
Yeah,
No way it's not.
exactly.
No way that it's not.
Perfect. Uh
Indeed.
no, that's a very good favorite moment. Like you're right, there's so many great moments this week. Um I was sure there was going to be some overlap between us, between the three of us rather. I'm very curious what Brandon's is if it's not the same as mine. Uh, my top three though
Brandon's is
before I
going
get
to
the
be
favorite moment.
Leanne's return.
Yeah.
You know that.
Number three, I kind of had a tie, but I went with the Unsolvable Doom Patrol number two because I just liked it a little bit more than Action Comics. But Action Comics was also at the same score, so tied for number three. Number two, I put Blue Beetle Graduation Day number six. Hell of a mini, and bringing us more Blue Beetle. Hell yeah, that is a top notch right there. And number one, my top scoring book of the week and easily favorite issue of the week, Green Arrow number one. I'm cautiously looking forward to the rest of this run. It's already going to 12 issues, and I think it's only a matter of time if it sticks the landing in the first arc that we get an ongoing Green Arrow book. I cannot wait. Favorite moments. I think I kind of gave it away already. It is Roy finally reuniting with Leanne. But if I had to pick a backup, might actually be John Henry Irons revealing himself as Steel at that press conference because I thought that was really cool.
In true Iron Man fashion.
In true Iron Man 2008 movie fashion, yes. I am Steel. Yeah, so that was our favorite moment. Now it's time for your favorite moment. It is
the biggest thinker.
Oh, that's nasty.
It sure as hell is.
Yeah, it is. So I know my biggest stinker. I'll just like say it right now. Revenge of the Gods number 4 really faltered. I liked the backups a lot more than I liked the main story. Mostly because of the Shazam one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that they did a great job. Josie Campbell wrote Mary Marvel terrifically throughout the entire run that she was writing the character. Caitlin Yarsky's art was fantastic, and I love Jordi Belair's colors every time I see them. So there's nothing to dislike with that Shazam backup. The Amazon's backup was solid, but the main story just fell apart for me.
For sure. Honestly, I mean, I love that we've got Shazam back to where it needs to be. I'm not thrilled about how we got there. I'm not thrilled that Mary is exactly how she was before this all started.
Yeah.
Revenge of the Gods, man, it stunk. That's out of the main. If I bring in the honorables, of course, and this is of no surprise, I
want to flush it again.
Tim Drake Robin blows.
Honestly, I went through I went through that today, actually, before we recorded. I didn't hate it. Like, it actually didn't make my stink list this week. Um, Still not fantastic, but it's a lot more interesting than it has been.
Okay, but I mean, you are talking about reaching over top of a bar that is literally laying on the floor.
Yeah. Maybe, and Brandon might cheer at my comment here, it might be because Bernard was barely featured in the issue.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure that's exactly why Brandon would like it. I have no doubt. No doubt whatsoever.
Yeah. Anyway,
Holly has also volunteered to read Tim Drake. Yeah, Holly has also volunteered to read Tim Drake to let me know if I'm being an ass or not.
I mean, all three of us don't like it. I think at that point, she should read Superman and let us know what she thinks about that.
You gotta wait until the story is finished. Not these little mini arcs.
Side note,
this is a rant, but no, it's not even an arc. Okay, you got a story. You can't do 4 issues or 3 issues and say that's an arc, because it continues in the very next fucking issue for another 3 issues. Then you go, that's an arc. Horse shit. It is not. They're all part of the same story. But that's just a personal gripe of mine.
I mean, you can have
in comics in general
overall stories, but have mini arcs inside. Like Planet Hulk was multiple stories set on that planet, but it was one long story. Same with the Warworld saga. It's the same idea. It was one big story, but it had arcs separating it.
It had big arcs separating it. Warworld Rising, those big things. But when you have 2 arcs within one Metallo story, that's for example, you're doing it wrong.
What Metallo story? Is that about Action Comics?
That was just me using an example, but yeah, okay, for example, over in Superman, we just ended an arc, but it's not done yet. It's nowhere near done yet.
So, but Parasite story is done. Right? The overall story isn't done, but Parasite story is done.
Should that really count?
Yeah.
I mean, really? So who's gonna pick this up and go?
Parasite.
They're gonna read the opening issue. They're gonna see all the shit that's going on with Lex. They're gonna get to the end of the Parasite stuff and go, well, that was good enough for me.
Well, not that it's done. No, but that's the Parasite arcs. That's the story arc of Parasite as the villain.
I know I'm being pedantic on that one. I have no doubts. I won't even try to argue against it. It gets under my skin. It's like releasing a CD and saying that there's 2 albums inside. No, there's just one CD there. There's one CD.
But what if there's 2 CDs?
2 albums. Then you can call it 2 albums. But in following that same line, if there were 2 CDs, you could call it 4 albums. No, that's not how it works. There's a beginning and there's an end. There's a beginning and there's an end. You can't just chop it up in the middle.
Okay.
I mean, I know it's not okay, but that's just...
We could be here all night debating story arc, like, timelines or whatever. We've been going on for a while already.
I am full of opinions that nobody agrees with. So feel free to go to buymeacoffee.com/NAR podcasts and join our Discord so you can get in on the fun that all of the staff and members of Discord get to and tell me how wrong I am on a daily fucking basis.
And on that note, you can also send us an email to comics@notarobotpodcast.com and contact us on Twitter at notarobotcomics and Instagram at NAR Comic Books, where you can also tell us how much you disagree with Josh, and I will be sure to get the message to him.
He will too.
Yeah. Also check out our Substack for bonus review articles and more. And as always, there's only one way we say goodbye around here. Until next time, be good to each other.
And don't.